Live content accounts for almost a quarter of global viewing time. Live video generates 27% more minutes of watch time per viewing than on-demand video. Live streaming is a $70 billion industry. What does it all mean? Let's find out on the Why I Go Live podcast with Coach Kirk.
Yes. I am super excited, y'all. Super excited to be back. This is the first episode, the maiden voyage of the Why I Go Live podcast. I am your host, Kirk Nugent. I want to share a little bit about why we're in this space, who I am, and what this whole experience of Why I Go Live is all about. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Kirk Nugent, and I am a live video coach, a remote producer. I'm an ideator, which means I just constantly come up with ideas. I'm a motivator. I'm also serving as a media pastor and live show host. I believe, man, that live streaming can help you to do so many different things. And in fact, my own experience is why I'm launching this podcast, because I don't feel like enough people know what is possible with live streaming. I feel like people kind of exclude themselves, like that's for them. Like that's something that extroverts do. That's something that people who have a lot to say do. People who are good in front of the camera, that's what they do. But I am here to tell you that it doesn't matter your vocation, your industry, your skill set, your gifting, your calling. It doesn't matter if you're a coach, author, consultant, if you're a small business, large business, live streaming can help you achieve your goals. And so the subtagline of the podcast is, what if live streaming is the missing ingredient for your success? And we're going to delve into so many things pertaining to how people have experienced this, how people have looked into their needs and come up with ways that live streaming can help them check some of those boxes. And you're going to hear stories of strategy, but you'll also hear stories of radical impact and just those eureka moments where it's like, whoa, I had no idea that live streaming would do this for me. And we hope that you have those kinds of moments as well throughout this series. Just kind of give you some origin. I have a show called How It All Works. I started it right at the beginning of the pandemic. It's a live show. They used to have a panel of guests, and I would host it. We kind of whittled that down to just myself and one guest because we realized that we couldn't serve our live audience well by having so many guests, and that kind of made it easier for me as well. And then the focus was on technology, media, live streaming, and then of course leadership. My channel on YouTube is about live streaming. Of course, I share with people how they can live stream, how they can utilize platforms like Restream, platforms like Ecamm Live, platforms like StreamYard. And then my videos are for the do-it-yourself video creator that learns visually. And we share those step-by-step guides and practical tutorials on that channel. And so those are produced content. They drop every Sunday. But the live show really was a way for us to kind of showcase different people who are streaming, different people who are doing different things in different ways, but also for me to be able to share with people in a live format, answers to questions. We have this coaching corner for those who want to be able to ask some questions, follow up to the videos that they've watched, and that's on Wednesdays. But the live show, How It All Works, kind of brought to life this question, why I go live. Towards the end of the final season of How It All Works, I did a month of shows, so 4 episodes, 4 guests, and we asked them this one simple question: why do you go live? And that series did a number of things. It helped me to realize that the story-based format of hearing why others go live is probably the best way for people to experience it. When they hear from somebody like me, who is a live stream enthusiast, a live stream expert, the expectation is, of course, you're going to tell me to go live, right? Of course, Kirk, you're going to say you need to go live. But when they hear it from somebody else, when they hear it from somebody who is in a totally different discipline and a totally different degree, field, vocation, they start to kind of realize, like, wait a minute, this has broad reach and broad impact. One of the things I like to say about live streaming is that it's going to be similar to a driver's license. There was a time where a driver who had a driver's license, that was their ticket to success. That was their career. They drove for a living because not everybody was a driver. But if you think about that now, fast forward to current day, we all drive. And in fact, we're kind of in that cycle where with Uber and other platforms, we're starting to get back into the mode of not driving anymore. But the concept and idea I share here, the tangent point where it's similar to live streaming, is that while live streaming right now might not be something that everybody does, developing that skill set, having that ability gives you access to things that you otherwise wouldn't. Media, in a lot of ways, has been democratized, and each of us have the awesome ability and opportunity to be able to dive into these spaces and share the value that we know we have. Another concept I like to share around live streaming is that, live streaming is essentially you being live. Every day you get in your car and you head out to work, you are live. You don't know what the questions are that people are going to ask you. You don't know what you're going to run into when you have a semblance of what you're going to do for the day that day. But does it ever go that way? I don't think it does. And I want you to see live streaming as kind of a microcosm of living. It's such a perfect thing for live streaming and live video to have that live in it, because in the process of living, we each have this component of the unknown. And that, my friends, is what makes live streaming magical. So we did that series on the channel, Why I Go Live, and we asked these guests that same question, and the response was phenomenal. Their feedback was great. And I immediately, this light bulb went on. This is what I want to do. I want my podcast to simply be me asking questions of people from varying different backgrounds and disciplines who have a live show, and ask them simply, why do you go live? And hearing their response, hearing their stories of impact, hearing the things that they expected and then the things that they did not expect. We want to ask them the question, why do you go live? And I hope, over the course of, these seasons of this podcast, that you will take that journey with us as well. I'm hoping that, every episode will cause you to ask the question of yourself, kind of the inverse of the title of the show. Why don't you go live? Why aren't you harnessing the power of live video for your goals, for your dreams, to share your value, to steward your story, to have influence and impact on a broad scale? I'm telling you, stick with us throughout this series. You're going to hear those stories, and I'm hoping that you'll be inspired to put one foot in front of the other, and definitely decide to go live, even if it's just as a guest on a live show. We hope that you feel a lot more comfortable. I hope that you go into it knowing some of the benefits. Lastly, I just want to share, as in this opening episode, it's going to be brief, but in this opening episode, just want to make sure that this is what I do. As I said, a live video coach, remote producer. This is what I do. I believe in live, but I want to make sure that we share with you resources that will make your live experience that much better. So if you have decided to take the plunge, this podcast is for you, because it'll be motivation for you to know that, wow, that's what they experienced. And maybe you may even see some of what you've experienced in their story. We're looking for guests. Drop us an email at info@howitallworks.com if you'd like to be a guest on the Why I Go Live podcast. If you've got a story of impact, if you've got a unique perspective in terms of why you go live, we'd love to hear it. And I think the audience would love to hear it too. So again, this is the space that we're creating here with the Why I Go Live podcast under the brand How It All Works, with your boy, your cousin, your nephew, Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speaker Preacher. Thank you for your time and attention. Hope to see you in several of our coming episodes. And then we hope again to have you on one of our podcasts. If you have never heard me say this before, I want to say this to you now. Your live stream is your digital storefront. There truly is no greater way for people to experience your superpower, your greatness, than for them to see you do it live. If you want to go from busy and broke to peaceful and paid, I challenge you to try live streaming. Later, fam.
Why I Go Live, hosted by Coach Kirk, is a composition production. Real streamers, honest stories, and incredible impact. Add your voice to the conversation. Go to kirkrnugent.live/member to join the community. And let's figure out how it all works.